Yeah, I'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. And I'll ask the host if anybody is participating electronically.
Yes, we have our presenter on tonight and a member of the public.
Thank you. Okay, next is the adoption of the agenda. Everybody received the new agenda that there is an amendment to it. I need a mover and a seconder. The motion is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Tiber. Be it resolved that this meeting agenda dated Monday, April 13th, 2026 be adopted as amended to remove report number 9.3 John Street roadside safety, remove report number 9.4 conference attendance strategies, and remove report number 9.5 collaborative OPP meeting and renumber the reports following the removal. Questions, comments? None, all in favor? Carry. Anybody have a conflict of interest to declare? None? And next is presentations and delegation. This evening we have BrokerLink for the 2026-2027 municipal insurance RFP. We're going to get the results. It's a virtual presentation, and I'll ask the CEO to make the proper introduction.
Sure. Just looking if I see Megan. Megan, are you on?
I'm here, Paul. Can everyone hear me okay?
I hear you great, Megan. Welcome and thank you for joining. You're here with the council and various staff and attendees. And if council remembers back last April, May, when we renewed the insurance, and at that time, direction was provided that come 2026, that we wanted to go to market. And so we contacted BrokerLink, who's our insurance broker, and I've asked them to play the lead in this process, and they've done that. And tonight, happy to report that Megan DeRoche is here on behalf of BrokerLink, and she will come and present her findings. So, Megan, over to you.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Paul, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Megan DeRoche, and I'm an account executive with BrokerLink. I've been with BrokerLink since 2012, and I was assigned to the town's account back in November to assist with your insurance program, including the RFP process and the renewal review. I'll keep things fairly brief this evening as I am recovering from being a little under the weather, but I'll focus on the key points, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Through this RFP process, we were able to secure two strong and competitive options for the upcoming term. We have Intact Public Entities coming in at $153,295 before tax, and BFL Canada at $161,294 before tax. Now, both markets do specialize in municipal risks and provide comprehensive coverage tailored to the town's operations. Within the report provided in the agenda, I have included an executive summary that outlines the coverage offered by both insurers, a breakdown of the key differences between the two options, and also just a quick summary of the risk management services provided by each insurer beyond policy coverage. In addressing the key differences, which you'll see outlined in section 3 of that report, including but not limited to specific coverage and structural features, I do believe that both options remain strong overall. We've also secured a separate quotation for Voyageur Days. This is, of course, based on no material changes from last year. Now, this exposure is typically insured separately, and this quote has been included in the proposal. The carrier secured is offering lower terms than in prior years, which is also positive to mention. In the report, we also have included the optional cyber liability quotation. This is something we are strongly recommending for municipalities of all sizes, as the frequency and sophistication of cyber incidents do continue to increase. With advancements in technology, specifically AI, but not limited to AI, cyber incidents continue to increase, becoming more sophisticated, more frequent, and harder to detect. Now, this cyber policy does not only respond in the event of a claim, but it also provides access to risk management tools and resources aimed at helping prevent a loss in the first place. Coverage can assist with recovery and response costs, system restoration, and liability to sensitive information if compromised. As well, there is the potential for PR expenses to help protect the town's reputation in the event of a cyber loss. Now, for market context, while we're not necessarily seeing increased competition from new markets available for municipal risks, we are seeing stabilization in the marketplace, which is positive. Now, that said, there are ongoing economic factors that do continue to impact both the frequency and severity of claims. Inflation remains a key concern, particularly with increased costs for building materials and cost of labor, along with supply chain challenges that can not only delay repairs, but it also extends recovery timelines. Now, these factors do continue to influence the overall claims costs and are something that our insurers closely monitor when they're pricing their municipal risks. Now, overall, though, I do believe that this RFP process was successful, as we were able to secure strong and competitive options for the town this year. Both proposals did come in lower than last year's premium, representing a reduction of approximately $18,000 with Intact Public Entities and just under $10,000 with BFL Canada before the tax. So, excuse me, at this point, I am happy to answer any questions, but I do appreciate your time and thank you so much.
Anybody have any questions? Councilor Gardner.
I did, so you were talking about the cyber ransomware coverage, and you did note that there was a difference, that we are covered for not only recovery, but also liability on the sensitive information. What are the amounts that we're covered for as far as recovery goes, and then as far as the liability goes?
Sure. So the cyber quotation that was included in this quotation is currently not included under the municipality's existing program. Just as an option, we did want to make sure that it was discussed and that it was included in the proposal so you could look at the numbers. In the specific breakdown on the report, the quote provided is at $1 million for cyber. But there are higher limits available upon request, which I can price for you as well with our multiple markets.
Okay, and then do we insure like specific buildings to different amounts, or do we have just a number on all buildings in our policy?
When we discuss with the market providers, there is an actual property schedule that does list each individual building limit, and then there's also scheduled property, and then there's also contents included. But how the policy responds is generally property of every description. So they do insure it more on a blanket form, and that just provides better protection in case there's a shortfall under one section as opposed to the other.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm gonna ask you on it.
Go ahead.
Are we gonna get a package of the policies all about, or just the introduction?
Well, that's the introduction, and in our agenda, there is a report, an information report that has the executive summary, I believe, so you have the information in there, yes.
If I may, Your
Please.
in addition to the documents that's included in the package, which is the executive summary, there's 10 or 15 pages. Each respondent to the RFP provided their detailed proposal, which are both, one is just over 200 pages and one is about 175 pages. I did not include that in your package because you'd have been reading all weekend, so, I thought the executive summary and Megan did a good job of summarizing that. After tonight and later on, there's a report to go into, which one we wanna go with, cause next month is renewal. And at that point, once we renew with whomever, then we'll get a final full package with the entire policy and all the coverages and so on, but it'll be no different than what is in the proposal tonight, with the summary of the proposal.
But you're gonna be doing the presentation later. Yourself,
Just on selecting which one we wanna go with.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Megan? None? Well, Megan, I guess you did a great job, and there's no further questions. So I want to thank you very much for your time with us, and I'm sure you're gonna be talking to our CEO treasurer in the near future. Thank
Of
you.
course, I'm happy to address any questions or concerns after the meeting this evening. So thank you again for your time and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay, next is adoption of the minutes. Everyone had a chance to see the circulated minutes. I need a mover and a seconder. So a motion is moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of March 23rd, 2026 as circulated. Questions, comments? None? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have four motions to read off. First one concerns the municipal elections. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Thibert. Be it resolved that council cancel the regular meeting of Tuesday, October 13th, 2026 due to the 2026 municipal elections. Questions, comments? None? All in favor? Carried. Second one is concerning community living in Mattawa. Mover and a seconder, please. Motion is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor Levite. Whereas Community Living Mattawa has provided supports and services to people with developmental disabilities and their families in the town of Mattawa since 1969. And whereas Community Living Mattawa goal is that people with development disabilities have every opportunity to participate fully in our community with dignity, independence, and acceptance. And whereas Community Living Month is a province-wide annual awareness campaign to promote true inclusion for people who have developmental disability and their families. Be it resolved that the council of the town of Mattawa does hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Community Living Awareness Month in the town of Mattawa. Questions, comments? Councillor Gard.
Did they, this might have been last meeting, but did they tell us what day they usually do the,
I don't remember seeing that, but I'll ask the clerk if she would know.
And just, if not, can it just be circulated or just I'd like to attend?
No, absolutely. I do believe it is May 1st. I could be wrong on that, but I will send an email to you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Next one is for Voyageur Days for alcohol permit. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa permits the sale of alcohol at Explorers Point on Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, and Sunday, July 26th, 2026. With the understanding that all rules and regulation will be followed as set by the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. And further that council of the town of Mattawa endorses and supports the 2026 Mattawa Voyageur Days Festival as an event of municipal significance. Questions, comments? None, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. And the final one dealing with Voyageur Days also, move on the seconder. Seconder. Okay. Moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Kibert. Be it resolved that refreshment vehicles regulated under bylaw 09-14 be permitted to locate at Explorers Point July 24th to 2026 during Voyageur Days Festival as requested by staff. Refreshment vehicle operators will be responsible for the following. One, to obtain all approvals before operating from the North Bay District Health Unit, Fire Department, and Building Department under section 6 and 7 of bylaw 09-14. Two, notify the bylaw department with all approvals no later than July 23rd, 2026 at 5 p.m. prior to installation at Explorers Point. And three, be responsible to ensure that the immediate area is cleaned at all times. Questions, comments? None, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Carries. Okay, that'll bring us to correspondence. First one from the city of Mississauga, 8.1, 2026 school board resolution number 060-2026. Questions or comments? Councilor Gardner?
Just wanted to note that I think a lot of it, might not, might be too little too late, as I think they just made a bunch of announcements, today, regarding the, public and, Catholic school boards, so I think some changes are on the way from the province.
Okay. Any others? None? Okay, 8.2, Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, inspection of Mattawa drinking water system at 400 Bissett Street. Questions, comments? Just a comment for me, I feel like it's a travel back to the future kind of thing. When I read that kind of stuff, because I've been through a lot of those inspections, and it just it's weird to be here right now and knowing that I did all this 20 years ago. So pretty cool. 8.3, Ministry of Finance, 2026 budget announcement. Questions, comments? None? 8.4, AMO policy update, provincial budget spending priorities and Build Canada Home operational funding. Questions or comments? None? 8.5, Ontario Energy Board, generic proceedings to review the 2000 model franchise agreement. Questions, comments? None? 8.6, Phenom Annual General Meeting. Question, comments? None? 8.7, Phenom Ministerial Delegation Opportunities for towns under 2,500 population. Questions or comments? I believe I read, but right now they've only announced that it's a Minister Peary, right? And that is it, so they're pretty limited in the delegation choices.
Yeah.
Okay. 8.8, Phenom, housing, development charges and northern priorities. Questions, comments? None? 8.9, Phenom, welcome key Northern investment in Ontario budget and Nord's extension. Questions, comments? Paul?
Oh, yeah, so that's a very good news story for us. We had, the first goal of Nords was, 440,000 in funding over 5 years. Which that's allowed us to finish the, Dorian curve onto Belanger Road. And it came to an end, this past March, so last month. And, that's 100% dollars, so we don't have to contribute anything in that. Whatever we get, we don't have to match it. And then it was a bit a lot through Phenom. Phenom's been a key part of this, and AMO to some extent. And the province has agreed to extend it for 3 years. So the pot is smaller, it's not 5 years, the smaller pot, only 3 years, but it's 100% dollars. So in 2027, the application will come out, so next year. And we'll be putting ours in and hope to get the maximum, and we have a few projects on the way where we can use that money.
Good. Any other questions or comments? 8.10, 2025 annual performance report, Mattawa Sewage Treatment Lagoon and Sewage Collection System. Questions, comments? None. 8.11, Franco Now Conseil Scolaire Catholique 2026 School Board Elections. So you were talking about announcements already made. What I read here is that there's gonna be 6 representatives for the Franco Now. And 2 of them will be from North Bay, 3 of them from West Nipissing, and 1 from East Ferris. So no representation our way. Just Councillor Gardner.
That's kind of disappointing to hear it, but kind of be okay with responding to that, it's disappointing that there's nothing coming our way, like. That's, we house two schools over there, and in one building, but 2 schools in an elementary and a secondary school, so. Disappointing that we're not gonna have a representative from at least more our way, Eastern. Whether that be any of the group of 4 in our area.
I was planning to give Mr. Contain a call. If that's okay with you, I can do that, or if you'd rather staff to look into it.
Oh, that's fine.
Because you mentioned 2 French Catholic schools, Ottawa, Bonfield has 1 too, with no representation either. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
No, I agree with what you said there, so. You should give them a call, get some type of answer on it, and why we were. Left behind somehow, or not even considered, so.
Good, I'll bring it back. 8.13, Municipality of Calgary, Mayor Richard Gould's report on North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority assets. Questions, comments?
Mayor, you missed 8.12. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. 8.12, Paul Sullivan, Principal, Practice Leader, Advocacy and Tax Policy Canada, Unfreeze Ontario, the cost of inaction. Any comments or questions? This is based out of Vancouver, I read, this thing. And I know that at Roma, I definitely sat and with people from MPAC. And the decision relies at this point on the province, not on MPAC. So I think they're a little misguided. The province took on a full review of what's going on, and they're supposed to let MPAC know what the new rules and new applications will be. And until they hear, their hands are tied. So I'm a little confused why a group out of Vancouver wants to unfreeze what MPAC's doing. MPAC's hands are tied also. I'm glad you reminded me. 8.13, Municipality of Calvin. Any other questions or comments on this one? None? Okay. 8.13, Municipality of Calvin. Mayor Gould's report on North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority assets. Questions and comments? Robert? I'll go out and say something about it, 'cause, right now. All the municipal mayors. That are partners or members of Castle Home Board of Management. Are asked. To help Castle Home regain control of Castle Arms. But then right after this happens, and I know that's why Mayor Gould put this out. The city of North Bay took or bought. All the Conservation Authority assets. At a given price without consulting the member municipalities. So what fits here doesn't fit there, and I know that's what Mayor Gould is doing, and we are meeting with them on the 20th again. And I'm sure that his letter will be brought forward.
The minister, for our district had mentioned something about combining all these conservation and groups for Northern Ontario and different places in Ontario beside that, so where do we fall under?
There was 36 conservation authorities. The government wanted to amalgamate it all into 7 groups. Communicated to the government, and they've accepted to increase that to 9. And I know that the wheels are in motion. It's gonna happen in 2027, but to get more particulars on that, I think Councillor Mick would be better suited to answer. Please.
Yeah, they landed on 9, but in terms of this sort of question from Mayor Gould, I believe a part of the motivation behind selling it as well, it's been on the sort of, it's been in the works for a while, although it just kind of came out now, because property matters are in camera, right? But I think some of the thoughts behind it was with these new sort of revamping of the conservation authorities coming down from the province. We don't really know what is happening, and I think there was a little bit of concern about the province coming in and scooping up all of the conservation authority assets. And this way it kind of like cleans up what the conservation authority is owning and kind of protects it from the province.
I have to know,
Certainly.
the fund. Infrastructure for different areas that we used to get for flooding and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Now, our group, do you know where it falls into, and is there funding here, if something happens here this spring?
Like in terms of like the new structure and everything. So that probably the new structure won't be at earliest, it'll be 2027, like winter or spring. So everything is as is. So like we've still got all the support from the Conservation Authority. They have flood watch is coming out. They're watching the snow levels and the rain levels, and things are going as usual.
My understanding that'll keep going in 27 also.
It's like
Through a different conservation authority, which is anywhere from here all the way to Timmins, is my understanding.
yeah,
So it's a bigger area, different watershed.
what they're proposing. So
Yeah.
it's still pretty up in the air, but yeah, so as far as we know, things won't change too much. And if they're gonna change at all, it won't be until at least 2027.
Thank you.
Councillor Gard.
Yeah, I know that Calvin and Mayor Gould kind of expressed a concern for some of the other properties that are owned by the Conservation Authority and kind of what'll happen to those. Like we have land within our municipality as well that is owned by the Conservation Authority. Is there thoughts from the Conservation Authority to kind of unload all of those properties, or are they looking at just the Ski Hill area in North Bay? Is it kind of like a cleaning house? And like my concern is just if anybody's going to have the opportunity to take over land within our municipality, I think it should come to the municipality first as a first option. Being what primarily ours is used for at the island, so that would be my only concern with it.
Man.
Yep.
I think the difference between those properties and the ski hill is the ski hill is not a watershed management area. Where like the gorge mentioned in the letter and the Mattawa Island mentioned here, they do have to do with flooding, they do have to do with drinking water source protection, and it is like part of like the watershed, which is what the Conservation Authority sort of takes care of. Whereas the ski hill in North Bay was a sort of level 3 sort of asset, I guess I called it, where it didn't have to do with any of the Conservation Authority's mandated like responsibilities. So even though the city of North Bay was the only one giving money towards the ski hill, I think it's a bit of a unique case because it wasn't had anything to do with the drinking water or natural resources or anything like that. It was very much just like a kind of partnership between the organizations. And then now when it's kind of run its term and the city was in a place to take over, it just seemed natural to kind of move it along with all this stuff up in the air. So I don't think those properties would be in jeopardy of being sold off because they're mandated to be regulated.
Councillor Gardner?
Just one last quick comment. Who would have ever guessed that it wouldn't make sense for Conservation Authority to own Ski Hill?
Right, yeah, I think it was one of those made sense at the time. It's kind of like the town owning a museum, but very much so, yeah.
Well, at the time, the North Bay Ski Hill was in serious trouble.
Exactly.
And they stepped up, but when you say only North Bay contributed, Mattawa also contributed. We had a 5-year commitment, 15,000 a year, $75,000. So we did contribute. Yeah, that I'm sure. I know of for sure. Any other questions? Okay. Number 9, information reports, 9.1. Affordable Senior Housing Committee mandate, report number 26-15R. The report is from Councillor Thibert. Gary?
The Affordable Senior Housing Committee was created in 2020 to assist with the creation of Rosemont Valley Suites. From my perspective, the committee did not finish their mandate. The goal was to create a nonprofit to oversee the management of Rosemont Valley Suites. This was due to circumstances beyond our control of the committee. The mandate was not fulfilled in creating a nonprofit organization. Keith Harriman and Dave Butler were involved in the committee, and with the permission of council, they are willing to come to speak to council concerning the creation of a nonprofit and assist us in creating, running, and maintaining a nonprofit organization that will be responsible to council for direction. It is recommended council accept this report and directs the CAO treasurer to invite Keith Harriman and Dave Butler to make a presentation to council at a regular meeting in May in 2026 on the creation of a nonprofit organization that will run the Rosemont Valley Suites. And motion 1, be it resolved the council of the town of Mattawa receives report number 2615R titled Affordable Senior Housing Committee Mandate. And motion 2, be it resolved the council directs the CAO treasurer to invite Keith Harriman and Dave Butler to make a presentation to council at a regular meeting in May 2026 on the creation of a nonprofit organization that will run Rosemont Valley Suites.
Okay, so we'll read the first motion. So I need a seconder for it. Councillor Thibert is gonna move it. Okay, so the first motion is moved by Councillor Thibert, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa receives report number 26-15R titled Affordable Senior Housing Committee Mandate. A recorded vote is requested by Councillor Levine. So any questions or comments about accepting the report? None?
Thank you, and just wondering how this is going to affect.
We're just accepting the report right now. Okay. And any questions on accepting the report? None? Okay.
Councillor Levesque,
No.
Councillor Thibert,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
and Mayor Belanger.
Yes,
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 4 days and 1 nay.
and now the second motion to this again is moved by Councillor Tiber. I need a seconder. Councillor Mick. So moved by Councillor Tiber, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council directs the CEO treasurer to invite Keith Harriman and David Butler to make a presentation to council at a regular meeting in May 2026 on the creation of a nonprofit organization that will run the Rosemount Valley Suites.
Recorded.
Recorded by Councillor Levine. Okay, questions, comments?
Yeah.
Sorry, Councillor Gardner?
So with the permission, can I ask a question and then maybe that'll change what my comments are? I'm just not familiar. I've never met Mr. Harriman or Mr. Butler before, so what is their affiliation to? I think I've kind of wrapped my head around what their affiliation is, but what's their affiliation to the project? Staff review.
Can the CEO answer that?
Sure. Recently, I guess we can go back to maybe the beginning and certainly Councillor Tiber can add even more, but they were an integral part of consulting in the development of Rosemont Valley Suite, correct, Councillor Tiber?
Yes,
Later, when myself was directed by council to seek a interested party to acquire the Rosemont Valley Suite. Mr. Harriman, Mr. Butler were an integral part and part of a consulting group who sought out a buyer at that time and made a recommendation to council as an offer to potentially them or the buyer acquire Rosemont. So that's where, with me anyway, the relationship began with those two individuals.
Okay, so they're not affiliated with the builder? Or any parties that we've negotiated with since that time?
Did you want to answer that? Or
well, I'm not sure what the question,
Are
They
they,
were-
are they affiliated with the builder, the building of the?
yes, they were affiliated, with, Mr. Demaris, who was a builder at that particular time. But they were there to help the committee to transition from, to deal with our mandate and transition to developing a nonprofit. And they were gonna help us to develop that and to show us how to do it and work with us to organize it and get the people that involved in it. And I think that that myself and Mr. Nick and Laura were on that committee. The three of us were on that committee to start with, but we hadn't finished our mandate.
Okay, so they weren't affiliated with Descon,
Yes, they were.
so they were employed by Descon?
They were part of the group.
Okay,
Yeah, they weren't employed by Descon.
No, but they're part of the development group.
Yeah,
okay. Okay. So, just like as far as the Affordable Senior Housing Committee, not finishing their mandate. I know that a lot was going on at that time, but I think that it's safe to say that they weren't meeting regularly. Things have kind of dropped off after the build was completed. So I think that's why council made the decision at the time to end their mandate. And to seek out a potential buyer. I don't support a not-for-profit model unless that not-for-profit is able to secure their own funding. If the building gets to a point of profitability, I think that the town deserves to recoup losses that we're accruing now. So by being a not-for-profit, that would be hard. There might be ways around that, but to wrap my head around it as of now, not-for-profit means the money stays with the building. I think that if the town taxpayers, if the people of Mattawa are on the hook for the loan, there's a 4.5 and change loan, maybe a little higher. And you know, we do have annual losses right now in excess of $50,000. I think that the constituents have the right to have their elected members be responsible for decision making on that building. If we got to a point where the building was profitable, you know, and the town wasn't on the hook for that loan, then that's a different story. The Mr. Harriman and Mr. Butler, I've been on council since 23, and that decision was made in 24, I believe.
Yes.
And I had never even heard from them about them, I watched all of the couple of meetings that happened, and I didn't know who they were. But I welcome them to come to council. I mean, I'll always welcome more information and options on what to do, and maybe they can convince me otherwise. I think that the building was complete, and the building was complete and people were living in it for a few years before the council decided to end that committee's mandate. But I still think that the town shouldn't be the landlord of any property in town. I think that wasn't the goal of the committee. I know that the not-for-profit was an option. But that didn't seem to happen. I'd be willing to listen to it, but I don't think it's fair to the other 1,000 households in Mattawa that their taxes have to increase this year to support the affordable rents under the current model. And our current model, again, doesn't include tenants' income and or what kind of, you know, savings that they have when we factor in their rent. We just welcome people into the building, and whether they need affordable rent or not isn't considered. So those are my comments on it. I have some more for 9.2, and I'll save the rest for there, but I would welcome presentation from them by all means. But I do think that I don't support a not-for-profit model unless they can secure their own funding.
Any other comments?
Well, you said it all, so it's perfect. I agree with you 100%, Councillor Gardner. We
Okay,
have that recorded, right?
so, so my turn, everyone's okay now, so, Councillor Mick?
I'm just happy to have them come and speak. I think they're great.
All right, that's it. Okay, so the way I see it, you said a lot of what I was gonna rehash to. The council dissolved the committee of council. And they decided, they being council, that the mandate was completed of building Rosemont Valley Suite. There was no action for quite a while. My understanding is the committee was formed in 20. The building was opened in 22, and we closed down the committee of council in 24. So there would have been a lot of time to get this done. In the meantime, council has instructed staff to undertake negotiations to dissolve or get rid, in simple terms, of it. You know, with the respecting the affordable ideal. I'd like to propose an amendment. And I will move it, and I'm gonna look for a seconder and I'll read it. In keeping with previous direction by council, be it resolved that council invites Mr. Harriman and Butler to contact the CAO to further discuss the matter of the creation of a nonprofit corporation, and that the CAO return with a report to council. And the reason I'd like to see that in is we gave the mandate to our CEO to take care of it. And both those individuals were in some of the negotiations that I'm aware of. And they never gave a final answer. They just disappeared. And tonight they reappeared. So I question that. So if I can find a seconder to my motion or my amendment, I'd like to forward it. Anybody want to second that?
I don't believe in that.
I know Gary won't. I know Lauren won't.
Yeah, I'm good either way. Like
You want to second the motion or not? The amendment. As far as I'm concerned, that committee is done. It's over.
Yes.
Now we're coming back.
That's not what's on the question here. We're just asking them to come and talk.
That's my opinion. I didn't say it was on the question. That's why I want to get.
Well, then we'll call it.
I'm looking for a seconder. Will you second it? Because otherwise I'm trashing it. It's that simple.
I'm gonna let it slide.
So it's no, okay. Any further questions or comments? None? Well, I gotta read it, I don't think I read it. Okay, moved by Councillor Tiber, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council directs the CEO treasurer to invite Keith Harriman and David Butler to make a presentation to council at a regular meeting in May 2026 on the creation of a non-profit organization that will run the Rosemount Valley Suites. Questions, comments, final? Click.
Councillor Levite,
No.
Councillor Tiber,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
Yes.
and Mayor Belongia.
Nope.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 3 yeas and 2 nays.
You. Well, 9.2. Rosemount Valley Suite rental rates, report number 26-16R, report from Councillor Tiber. Gary?
The Affordable Senior Housing Committee has set the rental rates for the Rosemont Valley Suites when it was in the final stages of completion, and each year the rates are increased by council resolution. Rosemont Valley Suites rehabilitation was done after 2018, so it is not subject to rent controls within Ontario. As the rents were set substantially lower than compared to the median rates in Nipissing District, I feel it is imperative that we increase our rates to make it more in line with the district, while keeping the rates more affordable to gain access to government grants. The suggested rates would be as follows. A bachelor apartment, the current monthly rate is a base rent of $704, which is the hydro included. Proposal for the monthly rate would be a base rent of $894, hydro of $150 for a total of $944 per month. A 1-bedroom apartment, current monthly rate is a base rent of $898 with hydro included. The proposed monthly rates is a base rent of $1,122 with hydro of $150 for a total of $1,272 per month. And a 1-bedroom plus a den apartment, currently monthly rate is a base rent of $975, hydro included in the rate. The proposed monthly rate is a base rent of $1,219, hydro of $150, with a total of $1,369 per month. A two-bedroom apartment, the current monthly rate is a base rent of $1,108, hydro included. The proposed monthly rate, base rent, $1,385 a month, hydro $150, for a total of $1,535 per month. These rents would only come into effect when someone vacates the apartment and will not affect the current residents residing in the building at this time. As per rates stated above, the Rosemont Valley Suites will create more income to better align with current area rental rates while staying in affordable housing markets. It is recommended that council accept this report and that council approves the proposed rates. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa receives report number 26R titled Rosemont Valley Suites rental rates. And motion 2 is being resolved that council approves the rental rate increase for Rosemont Valley Suites to the following rates. Bachelor apartment, monthly rental $894 plus $150 hydro. 1-bedroom apartment, monthly rental at $1,122 plus $150 hydro. 1-bedroom plus a den apartment, a monthly rental at $1,219 plus $150 hydro. And a 2-bedroom apartment, a monthly rental of $1,385 plus $150 hydro. And further that these rates will only take effect once a current tenant in the apartment has vacated.
Questions, comments? No, I need a I need a seconder. And are you asking for a recorded vote?
Yes.
Okay. So this is for the first motion. Okay, so it's moved by Councillor Tiber, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa receives report number 26-16R titled Rosemount Valley Suites Rental Rates. A recorded vote was requested by Councillor Levite. Questions, comments?
I'm just,
This is only to accept the report. There's gonna be a second motion to question the meat and potatoes.
meat and potatoes,
Okay, so we're good to go?
Yep.
So I'll call for a vote, all in favor? Carried. Oh, it's recorded, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize.
No, that's okay. Counselor Levite,
no,
Counselor Tiber,
Yes,
Counselor Mick,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
and Mayor Belongia.
Yes,
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 4 yeas and 1 nay.
okay, and the second part of the motion, mover is Councillor Tiber and seconder. Councillor Mick. Questions, comments?
we're doing.
That's recorded also, okay? So I will read the motion then. So moved by Councillor Tiber, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council approves a rental rate increase for the Rosemount Valley Suites to the following rates. Bachelor apartment, monthly rental, $894 plus $150 hydro. 1 bedroom apartment, monthly rental of $1122 plus $150 hydro. 1 bedroom plus den apartment, monthly rental of $1219 plus $150 hydro. 2 bedroom apartment, monthly rental of $1385 plus $150 hydro. And further that, these rates will only take effect once a current tenant in the apartment has vacated. Questions, comments? Councillor Levite.
Well, I've talked to the lady that takes care of the place over there, and you know what, in the past year, there was only 2 apartments that was vacant in there and re-rented again. So if you're gonna have just the odd apartment over a year that's being exchanged and just raised the still, you know how long it would take you to get the 30 units up to those prices? It's impossible, and we're gonna get stuck with this thing, so I totally don't supporting it. I'd just like for us to proceed what we had voted for to get rid of the building.
Any other comments? Councillor Mick.
Where did the numbers come from for the proposed increases, if I can ask?
the rates in the area, the median rate for a 1 bedroom is $1,400 to $1,600. And for a 2 bedroom, it's $1,500 to $1,700. So if you're trying to keep it as an affordable rate, if you look at the $894, it's still within the affordable rates for the people. And $894 would be a 20% increase when it becomes vacant, okay? And the rest of them, the other 3 are 25% increase. But it doesn't come into effect until somebody leaves the building, okay, when they vacate the apartment. And Councillor Levesque is right. It's gonna take quite a while before these rents get, because people moving out and moving in. But I was going by a question that was asked by Councillor Gardner about 2 months ago at a council meeting. When he said, is there a chance of raising the rents when somebody leaves the building, leaves their apartment? So I checked that out, and yes, there is an opportunity for us to do that, to come to a median rate that's acceptable to, for the area. I know we're also, every year we do an increase in those apartments, and I think last increase was a 5% increase, last year. Which is coming up, I think, in June again, for,
We're on January 1 now.
oh, it does?
Yeah,
Okay,
January 1st of each year. Because we have to give 3 months notice, remember?
yeah, but that's what I'm saying, so we have to do it again in November of this
Right.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to announce it
Yeah,
90 days.
if that's what we wanna do, it's not saying we're gonna do it.
Correct.
So every year we do that increase, whatever it is, we did this table decides. Plus, when somebody leaves, we'll do it. But eventually, it's gonna be more attractive for somebody to buy that building, for us to get to sell it. So that's another goal that we wanna reach eventually.
Well,
Right now, I
what are we doing? Are we selling it or are we creating a not-for-profit?
Well,
And
I know, I'd like to create a non-for-profit, but that's no reason why we can't sell it. Can I ask him a question?
I'm sorry I interrupted you, keep going. And
No,
then-
I'm okay with
Okay,
that. I'm
go
fine.
ahead.
Now, the rent review board has restrictions in Ontario for rentals. Doesn't matter what it is, non-profit or if it's regular rentals. There's a guideline you have to follow.
Yes,
And I think your guideline is over the limit that you're gonna allow to collect, and it's gonna bite you.
well, like I said earlier, the rental control is not anything that's built after 2018 or rehabbed after 2018 is not under the rent controls of 2.2% a year. That's why we were able to raise our rents 5% last year, was because this building is not under rent controls.
Okay, because you're much higher than what your 5% that we are gonna fly in January. I'm just wondering. that's all.
Yeah, yes, but that's only when the building becomes vacant, when the apartment becomes vacant. And it brings us up to a rate that's within the median rate for Nipissing District. As a matter of fact, it's lower than the median rate.
Okay. You done with your
Yeah, yeah,
questions,
I'm-
Councillor Mick?
And sorry, just again, the median number comes from like DSAP or like where does the number come from?
It comes from, I just checked the rental rates in Bonfield. And the North Bay rental rates, that's all I did, and I went from there.
Like a little like self-calculation, you look
Yeah.
online and stuff, okay, cool. That's all I was wondering.
That's it, Councillor Mick?
Yeah.
Councillor Garden?
Yeah, so I think the senior housing committee kind of set us up in this position with extremely low rates to start with. I think that's been admitted by members of that committee that it was way too low at the start, and now the town's kind of in a position that although we can raise, and Councillor T-Bear is right, that this project was after 2018, so we don't have to abide by the rate that's set, and it's not 2.2 every year. I think it changes year to year based on how things are going in the economy. I don't know what unit of measurement they use, but I know that it does change year to year. So we don't have to follow. That's why we've been able to do 5, but I think it's unmoral of us to drop a huge increase on the people that are already in there because they didn't expect that. So that is kind of why I came up with the thought of trying to cut our losses down a little bit by increasing it. And then that's where I think Councillor T-Bear came up with this as tenants change over. I do agree that we need to charge more for rent, but I still have like some questions that I need to be to have answered. We've always advertised that the units would be 20% lower than market rent. I went back and I did some research on a lot of interviews that we did with Bait Day and Nugget and stuff like that, and we advertised multiple times it was going to be 20% lower than market rent. I want to see or know what the actual market rent statistics are, and I think Councillor Mick was kind of trending that way, and that like where are those statistics? Are they provided by DSAB? Are we just doing a poll online of what's available in the area? But where do we come up with those numbers? Because I think those numbers are important to know if we are within the range. Like I think you're probably not far off in saying 14 to 1600, but you know, it's been a long time since I've rented and I wouldn't know that for sure. I'd like to hear kind of options on other models versus a blanket increase on all units. It was mentioned that it's a sorry, did you say 25% increase?
20 on the Bachelor and 25 on the other three.
Okay, so kind of according to my math, those numbers were including hydro before, and now we're asking them to pay 150 on top of hydro, so I'm looking at their all-inclusive cost. Which is in excess of a 35% increase on those units. Which again, if we can get it, then fantastic, but you know, I think that. There might be actual people in need that need those units. I don't want to price everybody out of it completely with a blanket 35%, but I think we're on the right track of charging somewhat more. The problem that I have with our current model that's kind of got us to where we are is that it doesn't include the income of the members that are in there, that are renting. You know, how much money they have in the bank. Did they sell their house for $1 million and now they're living in there, and worse than the town subsidizing their living? Is it in there for, are there actual people that need it in all of those units? Or you know, maybe that's how we should look at what we charge for rent is more in the geared to income type of rental rates. I was curious to know what the increase on this would be total. Like, I know that we have 30 units there. I don't know how many 1-bedrooms we have. I don't know how many 2-bedrooms we have. We were provided that a long time ago. Unfortunately, we've lost access to all of our emails prior to last year, so I can't find that. But you know, I'd be curious to know what that is. I'd like to kind of get another update from Descon. It's been probably 6 months or so. I think it was in the fall that we last had our last financial update from Descon. So, you know, I'd like to get an update from Descon on how things are doing, because now we've kind of seen, you know, a half to 3/4 of a year of us paying principal on the building. So I think that'll drastically change things. We've had in-camera sessions, and we can't go into those details, but I'd like an update on where things are at with that before I make a decision on this. I think it'd be pretty silly to say, yes, we're gonna do this today, and then we come next meeting with an update. So I'm gonna ask that it be brought back as old business, and we table the motion for tonight. I don't think that I'm prepared to make a decision on it as of now without some of those questions being answered.
I'd be okay with that, bringing it back, if that's what we wanna do.
Okay, I had an amendment again, so, you know, and
That's
and I'm gonna go through, you said a lot of stuff I wanted to say. When I first started here, I met with Descon, with John. And he told me the very first thing, you guys, the rents are too low. I tried to make the committee understand, I couldn't get them to understand. He said, that's where you're where you are. And he told me that, and I'm not making this up. I thought there was only 2 rate increases. You say there's been one every year. I know that the first one was recommended by the senior housing committee. It was 2.5, and I know that we recommended another one at 2.5. And last year we did one that was effective January 1st at 5%. My amendment was that I can't believe that all of a sudden these numbers, you're agreeing to those numbers where anybody on your committee wouldn't even listen to it before. So that's mind boggling, and that's why we went down the path of we had to divest ourselves of it. Right now, it's costing our taxpayers $135,000 a year. Like it or not, we got people raising a family, have a mortgage that they can barely pay, have trouble paying their utilities, are on a diet of craft dinner, for God's sake, and they're subsidizing someone else's rentals on their taxes. We're gonna create more homelessness, we're gonna create a bigger need for senior housing, you know, and you wanted the numbers. As far as I know, a bachelor was, there's 3 of them. So that represents $12,240 a year. The 1-bedrooms, some with den, some without, there's 25 of them. That represent $112,200 a year. And the 2-bedroom is an increase of $10,248 a year, and there are only 2 of them. And you are right when you're saying a 35% increase. I did the calculation. The savings, and I did these numbers pretty quickly, could be a little higher because there's a few with dens. I threw them all into the one bedroom category. Represents 135,688. That's in today's dollars. Now in 10, 15, or 20 years, when everybody's moved out and we can increase we'll be talking a different price. We still won't be paying it. That's why in my amendment, I'd say, great, I'll vote for this, but also a 5% per year. You know, and when a person leaves, you come with a new rate. I'm okay with that. Because right now, we have to pay for it. We gave staff, working orders, the directions to divest us of this. And they're in the middle of it. And now all of a sudden, we're gonna do a complete 180 and go the other way. I've got an issue with it. I'm okay to table it, for later. But if not, I would like, if we want to vote on it tonight, I would like to move that amendment on.
I will move on that amendment,
Second it?
or second, whatever.
Oh, yeah, well, okay.
So no, it doesn't mean it's that, keep going.
No, I just want to ask,
Is your motion to table it up first? We'll vote on that and then we'll vote on the amendment?
That's right,
Right.
you're right.
I'll second his motion to table it first. Then we can vote on that, and if it goes down, then we can vote on the amendment. Right?
okay, what are we gonna vote on now?
Well, before we vote on amendment, we'd have to vote on Matt's motion to table. And then,
Well, he did this, is someone gonna second his,
Yes.
first of all, okay, write it up.
well. Table.
But would that be as amended?
No,
No, it's separate.
no, we don't have to deal with it, but I'll keep that amendment for later. Did I, annual increases? Yep, that was done.
Could I make a comment about what was said about your amendment?
Yeah, and I'll throw in another one, keep it in check there, you may get, I lost it. I wanna repeat one thing, and I've said it all along. The Rosemount Valley Suite project is a good project. It was needed for the seniors. I think our financial plan was poor, and that's why we're sitting here today arguing about it. And we gotta see our way out of this. Cause it's tying our hands, we're handcuffed for anything else we wanna do. Unless we get lucky and get a few grants like we did. Go ahead, Kevin.
I don't have, I don't think I made myself clear about the 5% increase. I'm not saying that we should stop that. I think that's what I mean, probably continue that,
I understand that,
okay? And, on a yearly basis.
I understand that.
And that's exactly what I was saying, when a unit comes vacant, then we'll put either these rates or whatever rates that
Yeah,
the council have decided, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
yeah, but
Like these rates were just.
your motion didn't say this, council. Your motion did not say that. I wanted to add it to your motion. Your
Yeah,
motion,
no, it did,
your motion was saying, once they move, we raise the,
yeah,
but what happens, could take 20 years, who knows?
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave.
no, I know that. But I think that's why I was questioning, our CAO about the rate increases every year was 5%.
No, no.
No, 2.5, 2.5 and 5%, but no,
I only remember two of them, but I know the 5% was the first time.
yes. It was.
Yeah. I can only remember two of them, and I ran out of time to research it, I couldn't find it.
Ask CEO a question. On this,
Sure, are you working on the motion to table this?
No, because you've already moved and seconded this motion, so yous are voting on this motion to be tabled. There's not a new motion that's gonna be created for this.
Okay, Councilor Gardner asked to table it
Yes,
before I talked about that.
no, and I understand that, but you've already moved and seconded
Okay.
this particular motion.
Okay.
So this is what we're voting on. So the vote is going to be to table this motion, but because you've already read it out, that's what you guys are discussing.
I did not read it, oh, I did
Yes,
read
you
it out, I did. And I found a seconder.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take care of that one
Oh,
first.
yeah, I wasn't sure, Councilor Levesque was done.
I was just gonna ask how this is gonna affect your process in discarding this mess that we're stuck with.
I'm not sure. I'll be honest,
Are we going to get a report on this later or?
In the near future, there will be one.
Okay.
But, notwithstanding whatever is decided tonight, I mean, the direction still. Been given to me is to find a buyer and
Yes,
that is still proceeding,
Okay.
regardless of if it's decided until I'm told to stop.
okay, thank you. Sorry. I'm done, sorry.
Okay, so we are voting to table this motion.
Please reread it so everyone's. This amendment, you mean? Yeah.
Moved by Councillor T-Bear, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council approves the rental rates increase for the Rosemount Valley Suites to the following rates. Bachelor apartment monthly rental of $894 plus $150 hydro. One bedroom apartment monthly rental of $1122 plus $150 hydro. One bedroom plus den apartment, monthly rental of $1219 plus $150 hydro. Two bedroom apartment, monthly rental of $1385 plus $150 hydro, and further that these rates will only take effect once the current tenant in the apartment has vacated. A recorded vote was requested by Councillor Levite, and we are reporting this vote to be tabled. Councillor Levite,
But no, but you also have an amendment to it.
you just said before this whole speech that you want to do the table motion.
Okay, you don't need a motion for that?
If it defeats, then we will do the amendment that you want to do.
We're voting
This
to
motion
table.
gonna be defeated,
We're
then your
voting to
amendment.
table.
Okay, I just
That
heard
would
you
be-
read the motion.
Correct, and you're voting to table this motion.
Okay, but you didn't, okay. I just want to know what I'm voting on.
Yeah,
So we're voting to table this motion.
yes, because that's what council had said, you want to table this, if the table does not get carried, then you're going to do your amendment. Is this how you want to proceed, or do you want to do the amendment and then do the other one?
Counselor Gardner wants to know.
Because I
Councillor
think
Gardner?
it's a little confusing right now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so my intent was just to table the whole kind of motion. And my assumption is that your amendment would come back when this comes back in the future, if it comes back in the future with at that time. Because I think things could change between now and then, right? Like there was a lot of questions asked, a lot of conversations. So next time this motion comes to the table, it could be different. So my request was just to table it, and then I had a question for the clerk, if that's okay. Just by tabling it, would we have to direct for it to come back on old business?
Yeah, we
Okay.
would just automatically
So,
put it under old
I
business.
would ask that it comes back as old business.
As amended. That's what I would ask. Because it comes back as old business, it comes back as this, the amendment's gone. And, right?
The motion isn't coming back in old business, the topic is coming back in old business.
Okay,
Yeah, it would be the entire conversation, the whole report, and everything would be coming back as old business.
I would be dotting my i's and crossing my t's.
And this, when this comes back to the table. Is the amendment to it can be added on then?
At that point in time, you can add
Okay.
anything that you wanna add.
Just wanna make sure.
If it comes back, this isn't even cut back, just the topic itself.
Okay, all right,
That's what I just heard.
Yeah,
okay.
the amendment coming back could be that we're gonna paint the building blue.
Can I ask a
You
question?
certainly can.
If we vote no on this motion to table. Then his worship can add his amendment tonight.
Correct.
Okay,
And
thank
then
you.
we vote.
Clear as mud? Okay. We're voting to table this amendment. Counselor Levite,
Yes.
Counselor T-Bear,
No.
Counselor Mick,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
and Mayor Malashte.
Yes.
The motion is tabled with a recorded vote of 4 yeas and 1 nay.
Take a deep breath. 9.3, Fire Department Acquisitions, report number 26-17R. Report from Chief Paul LaPerriere, CEO Treasurer, that's what I have here, and he has a fire chief with him. So you guys decide who makes the presentation.
Yeah, well, I'll start us off and I guess this kind of started off as a report or activities of need from which came to me a while back and said Harbor 5 is water. The song goes, I said, fix it, Mr. Chief. So they come back and said, we tried to fix it, it didn't work. And then we tried to fix it, it didn't work. Tried to fix it, it didn't work. And so the solution is to buy a new pump for Harbor 5. And so I said, how much does that cost? It said, well, installed, it's $20,000 to $25,000. So not very keen on spending that kind of money on a truck that is 23 years old. And so, especially in the town with limited resources. Anyway, while that's been going on, as you know, we were unsuccessful in acquiring a truck. Just late in 2025 when council had directed or approved, purchasing one up for up to 40,000 or spending up to 40,000. So they've been looking in the background, but not too aggressively because we were kind of bumping along with Harbor 5. But then when this became obvious that Harbor 5 now needed some serious investment, they intensified their search, and lo and behold, they landed on one. And at that time, it was listed under $10,000, which was an incredible price for a truck, which you have pictures of it in your report. And so, well, hey, let's pursue it. When Gov Deals, as you know, when you're making a bid on Gov Deals, you don't know what the minimum bid is. Chief Sean knew that there wasn't a lot of action on that bid, one, and two, we had to convince the seller that we were a bona fide municipality, small, we're in need of a fire truck, we don't have a whole lot of money, and we're not using this as a joy vehicle or to sell it or flip it or make monies, we need a truck. So we had a ballot, and they unlocked his account and let us bid on it. Anyway, the minimum bid came out to be incredibly $15,000. Chief Uncle, that truck brand new, what would it would cost?
You're about 1.6.
1.6 million.
Anywhere from 3 to 4 years time waiting once that acquisition's been focused.
So that's a 1.6 million dollar truck. It's an older truck, so it's now worth $1.6 million. So what would it be worth today if you paid fair market value?
So when I did look at this specific truck across North America, as we know, a lot of them go to the States to be resold profit. It ranged anywhere from 160,000 to 250,000 Canadian dollars.
Yeah. Thank you, Chief. So anyway, game time. The asking price was 15. There were no other higher bids, and so we were the successful bid to buy this truck. And I pointed out that it has a 75-foot ladder, which we've never had one. And then I looked at our strategic plan, and it's sort of kind of aha moment when in our official plan, we're going to allow for buildings of 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. And imagine the future where we have those buildings and we have no ability to fight fires at taller structures. And just because we got this deal this time, imagine a time when there is no such deal to be had. And you're looking at hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to get a fire truck to be able to defend assets that in the plan says you can have. So that's strategically aligns real nice with the strategic plan. So that's the fire truck story. Then there's
Before you move on to other part of it, on the fire truck,
Come through the chair, please.
oh, can I ask him a question?
Yes, Councillor Levesque?
What is the cost factor to restore this truck to its proper operation?
Well, so currently the truck is still active. It's still on the floor. Weedford is the large municipality and have lots of money, so they've acquired a new truck. Is the only reason why they are selling this one.
Yeah.
Currently, there's no reason to say that the truck would be able to be put service tomorrow. On a cost analyst, for this is the truck, so the side of the annual pump test, which all of our trucks have to go through every year, which is approximately anywhere from $400 to $800, depending who's available and at what time. It's also got to get a yearly inspection done to the ladder. So I've reached out to the North Bay Fire Chief to inquire what distributor they use to try to jump on that plan for when the inspector comes in to save a little bit of cost. So it needs to be inspected every year for the ladder. It's approximately $1,200 to $1,500 depending who you're dealing with. And then every 5 years, it's got to go through a thorough check to ensure that it is structurally integrated to do its job, which is approximately $2,200 to $2,500.
Okay. Thank you.
all right. So while this is going on, the fire association has been active and saw that there was a rescue boat for sale also in Delville. And I volunteered to say if the town wants to acquire a rescue boat, that they would be willing to donate $10,000 to the town of Mattawa to acquire the boat. And the chief approached me and said, here's the deal. Recognizing that when we look around Mattawa, we're surrounded by water. Water is great. It's Swords Point is a sight to be seen. For those who have never been to Mattawa or anywhere in the high grounds, which is almost everywhere you see waterways, but it's also dangerous. And so our ability to provide water rescue is would be great kudos to the fire department to have that. So again, we were the highest bidder and it actually sold for $9,600. And like I said, the association donated at $10,000. And then lastly, last acquisition was the E350, and that was more of a in the budget. There was some dollars to build some storage facility. This is cheaper than storage. It ended up selling for $5,600, and then it needs some upgrades, which I'll walk through in a second. Just want to put a plug for this morning. Our fire chief and crew were out at 5 a.m. this morning on a highway call. Our current rescue van failed and hadn't taken out of service. Yeah, so that was unexpected. This van was put into service, came to the rescue of rescue. So it's a good thing to have. It's meant for really for it could be used for shuttle, it could be used for storage, which it will, but it also could be used as in service for so many things during the fire. So it's a key asset. I gave you in the report total consideration, the fire truck, what it costs to acquire it, the inspections, the signage and so on. Final cost $22,000. The rescue boat after the contribution and all costs and everything, it's $1,000 cost of the town. And then with the $350 with the net purchase cost and then upgrading it to a full in service with radio and alarms and all that, net of the offsetting revenue, that's 11,900. So the total cost is, let's call it 35,000 for the capital acquisitions. And those are going to be in the budget that you're going to see in very near future. Questions, comments?
Counselor Smith.
Congratulations, I think it's good, some good assets for our fire department and job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. I think kudos belongs to the chief who has been doing this research, and I certainly don't have time to do that kind of stuff. The fire truck is a one in a lifetime deal that comes around. A $1.6 million truck with a ladder that we got for 15,000. That's incredible. It's going next week. I encourage, we're gonna have a little celebration, and maybe the association, the chief was sharing that to me, that want to put a little barbecue together, maybe invite a little media. I think a council should come. And remember when we got the grader, that was a big thing for public works. On a fire truck, it was just as big and bigger for fire department. And when that happens, we'll let you know, and we all hope that you can come. And thank you for supporting that and having the vision that for this council, future councils, and many councils to come, that the residents of Madawaska can live safer at night, knowing that we're building an infrastructure to take care of the town. And a lot of that kudos belongs to the chief. Thank you.
If there's food, I'll be there.
Counselor Nick, you had something? Counselor Gardner?
Yeah, so I got a long one. I like to talk. So I wanted to start off by thanking staff for their efforts and time. I know that things go up on gov deals and it comes and goes really fast. So it's like playing the Kijiji game. It's there 1 minute and it's gone the next. So I know that did take a lot of time to find this particular truck. Again, with our official plan coming, it'll be an asset to what we're trying to do. I would debate if this truck will benefit by the time that asset management, or sorry, that official plan comes into play, and then we allow the buildings and all that, because we'll likely need a new one by then, but the thought is there anyway. So thanks for that time, but I'll kind of get into where I tend to go more negative. So I don't know if everybody remembers, but resolution 2525, which was provided to us in February of last year, so over a year ago, was for $40,000 that was approved to purchase and outfit a pumper tanker fire truck. And it was in the motion that it was a pumper tanker fire truck, and not to be confused with a ladder truck, which again, I know hauls water and does have a pump, but drastically different. Council was sold on the fact that at the time, and I remember vividly Councillor T-Bear having a hard time with this decision, and I think the selling feature to vote that way was that a pumper tanker with 5 times the capacity of our current pumper 5 tanker, which is 500 gallons. So we were talking a 2,500 gallon tank on board this pumper tanker. That would benefit us, and at the time we were talking about expansion of our services into a neighboring municipality. That would benefit that, and also should we ever be in a position where our hydrants aren't working in town. We then took that motion over a year later and bought a ladder truck with a 300 gallon tank on board. So much less than the 2,500 gallon tank that we were kind of led to believe that we were looking for. So 2 different types of trucks. Both to replace the same truck, but drastically 2 different types. So the thought being that if we decide to expand our services, which is still up in the air all the time, we're still going to need something to haul water, and much more than 300 gallons at a time. I'm going to be just kind of frank that I'm very disappointed And I think that it was kind of sneaky and dishonest to use a motion that's over a year old for something that was budgeted in 2025, wasn't purchased in early 2025, and then it was bought in a 2026 budget year with no approved budget yet. We have members at this table that often like to make sure that it's known that we're not happy about making unbudgeted purchases, and this is one. This is an unbudgeted purchase. It was budgeted for 2025. We didn't buy it in 2025. We bought it in 2026. So that budget is gone. I think that it would have been nice to have it come back to the table to at least update us and say, hey, we know this motion's a year and a couple months old. We didn't buy the truck that we told you we were gonna buy for $40,000. We bid up on that truck to $90,000. But we didn't get it. And now a year and a little bit later, we're gonna buy a different truck with that old motion so that we don't have to come back to council, probably in fear that it wouldn't happen this time. I totally disagree with that. I think that we could have been updated at least. I love the idea of the truck. I like the truck. But just how we went about it, I definitely don't agree with. Our own, again, I'm gonna say that it was said the last time that we discussed buying a truck, our own asset management plan states that our 2004 Freightliner fire truck was gonna be, had an expected 7 more years of service. The tires on it, I guess that those were a bit of an issue. My question would be, one, did they pass a yearly inspection? You know, my trucks at my business have to go for a yearly inspection and tires are part of it. NFPA 1911 was the standard that was cited for needing to replace those. As far as I know, it's not a governing law in Ontario, it's recommendation. I don't know if anywhere we say that our fire department has to follow NFPA standards. I know that it's something that we use as a guideline. I don't think it's anything that we've said absolutely have to follow it. So could the tires have lasted longer? I don't know. We state that in our plan, our fire trucks have an estimated useful life of 20 years before we should look at replacing it. This truck is now 20 years old. So again, I don't think we'll see the day where this truck is skyrocketing that ladder up to a 6-story building within our municipality. I think it opens the door for replacing that truck with something of similar type in the future, but the truck and its condition, kind of refreshing to hear that it's still in service, so that kind of eases me a little bit. I was concerned on that because I know that when you buy these, you're buying them as is. So the comparison of you know, trucks in different countries that are going for 160,000, well, those are likely coming from resellers who are buying them and doing whatever work needs to be done to them and reselling them in good working condition. We're kind of taking risks on buying this, but if it's in active use right now, that's a really good sign. It shouldn't need anything, hopefully. And if so, it'll probably be minor. But the biggest issues that I have is, again, that we don't have a 2026 budget yet. Internally, you know, there was a note on here that these are budgeted in the 2026 budget. The 2026 budget doesn't exist. Until council approves it, it doesn't exist. Internally, we work with, what is it, 50% of last year's budget is kind of what we work with. I think is what we've always worked with internally until a budget is struck. But we don't have a 2026 budget yet. So to go out and buy something like this is frustrating because council might have decided not to make that acquisition this year. The boat, it's nice to see that the association has purchased or put up the bulk of the money for this. I don't know. I maybe I need to be refreshed on what our mandate is when it comes to water rescue. When I was on the department, when I first joined, we only offered ice water rescue. We didn't do water rescue in the summer months. So that might have changed. I know that when I left, we didn't even offer ice water training because we didn't have proper trained members. I know that that's changed now. But if this was used for ice water rescue, depending on the time of the year, you know, it could be beneficial, it could not be. It's got an outboard motor, so if there's ice on the river, hard time to drive that boat up river. So if we do water rescue, Maybe it just kind of for council's knowledge, just a list of services that we do offer, because that was one that I didn't know that we did outside of ice water rescue. I had questions on storage, where we were gonna store it. I know that we're getting pretty tight in that hall. So where we're gonna store it. And then just I always flag it every time the association helps. It's great that they help. But I always kind of question how they help, because they often use the equipment and property of the town of Mattawa to fundraise, to make money for the association that decides what they spend the money on. So the town of Mattawa is subsidizing their fundraising, and they choose what they want to buy. So I think we need some sort of an agreement. Most of the time, it's nice that they're buying things back for the town that the town doesn't have to purchase, like this boat. But we don't get a say in that. It's often that they fundraise using our equipment, and then they tell us what they're buying with it. The rescue van, I think that was purchased some time ago. Glad that we're finally hearing about it. It didn't say what year it was. I'd like to know what that is. Again, I can tell just by looking that it would be flagged by our asset management plan for needing to be replaced. I thought that we bought an F-150 for most of these purposes. That was the talk around the table at the time. It was to get the fire chief around. We made an unbudgeted purchase at the time to buy the F-150, and the talk at the table was it was going to get the chief around town to where he had to go, and it was going to assist in bringing materials and things like that to and from scenes. So it seems like we're kind of buying vehicles to duplicate on services. As of today, the fire department has a total of 6 trucks, from what I can gather. We have Rescue 7, we have Pumper 5, we have Pumper 8. Pumper 5 will likely be sold or scrapped. We have this new van, the new ladder truck, and the F-150. So we have 6 vehicles now within the department, plus a boat. So it's getting up there. Like, we have to get that kind of reined in and under control. We have a 3-bay building. There's no new building coming anytime soon. So like, it's nice that things are purchased, like the boats, but there's now the burden becomes on the town to pay for fuel, insurance, maintenance, licensing, inspections, all those things. I'll take it when it's $1,000 for an $11,000 boat anytime. But in the report, the highway call revenue was the $5,000 was taken off of the price of it. I think that's kind of misleading. The highway call revenue is meant to offset the fire department budget, not to spend in excess of. So if we say that there's a $400,000 budget, and then you bring in $50,000 in highway calls, well, then I don't think that you get to spend up to $450,000 now. The budget is still $400,000. The town has just recouped $50,000 of the $400,000. So using the $5,000 towards it, I think is nil. And then us billing for that truck to attend a highway call, I think again is nil, because we would have billed for Rescue 7. We only send so many people on a highway call, again, unless that's changed. We used to send only so many people, and we'd leave so many in town. So you can only bring so many trucks out of town at a time. We're not sending all 4 trucks out of town. So we'd be billing for Rescue 7 to go, or this truck to go. And then my last thing, again, just to kind of shed some light on where we're at with this. And I think it's a great thing with where the fire department has come. When I was there, it was in dire need of investment and time and somebody to care for it and to put the work in. And that was why I was okay with hiring a full-time chief to do this. But we raised hell when the OPP wanted to raise our rates 28%, something outrageous, double-digit numbers. Our fire department budget in 2021 was $166,000. In 2022 it was $198,000. 2023 was $162,000. 2024 was $261,000. That's when we hired our full-time chief. And in 2025, what I can gather on what we were given last year, our budget was $407,000. So since this council has taken over, we've doubled our fire department budget. At some point, we have to rein in the spending, and we got to get that under control. I think we've spent a lot of the money that needed to be spent there. At some point, I'd like to see that start coming back down, and acquiring things over and over, I don't think gets us there. But at $407,000, we were raising arms about OPP. We're much higher than that now for our fire department. So. I think I've been as negative as I can possibly be. I apologize. Those are my concerns. I wanna make sure that they're not.
Councillor Levite?
I understand what you're saying on the financial part of the municipality and the costs and the budget items, but there's also a need, we have structures here that are 3 floors. And just for example, the IDA, when we went in there at a fire, we had to use a stair to go up 3 floors. And you try to pull a 125-pound pressure in a 1.5 to 1 floor up 2 steps, another rows of stairs, and then second floor, then third floor. It's the ladder would have been perfect thing right out the window besides that, but we are having big structures, buildings here. We got a lot of multiple apartments. And there are 2 floors, some of them is 3 with the basement besides that. And I think for that price, for the fire truck, I would go for the fire truck. I got no problem with that. For the boat, I know that we were restricted to the Mattawa River. We weren't allowed to go on the Ottawa. It was only shore rescue only. But the Ottawa River is wider than the Mattawa River, so it's pretty hard to try to throw a rope and a life preserver to somebody that is 100 feet, 200 feet away. So they have to find another way to do the water rescue, and I don't know if the policy has been changed, because that's what we had before. The van, you're talking about, well, it's going to be possible storage, possible use, like you had to use it the other morning for an accident scene or whatever you went to, and you had to use it with the equipment inside. You had to bring it, take it out of one truck. So you had something to bring your equipment to do the job that you had to do. And I don't know how old this is. And the thing is it up to standard? That's another thing. I'll ask you that question at the end. The association, the comments you have made that we're using our equipment to do fundraising, that's not true. Because the only time the equipment goes out is when we have a community event that we get kids involved with the Lions Club. We do not use it to make fundraising with it. Okay, we never did. Our fundraising is our hockey tournament, and we used to have the bingo. So that's the only way we have money being made. And of course, they do barbecues now and car wash. That's where they're going to be starting now. So for the price that's here, for 34,000, and there's actually what should have been 44,939 because they're giving 10,000 for the occasion. I would go with the truck for sure. The boat. And the van, I need more information on it, how old it is, and what needs to be done to it to bring it to proper service. That's all I have to say.
Councillor Ross?
Okay, so we approved 40,000 in 2025. So we haven't struck our 2026 budget. We did not spend that money in 2025. So I think that basically falls under that, if I'm correct. As for the van, it says certification, so if it's certified, it must be functioning. A rescue boat, I actually don't believe we don't even have a rescue boat. I think that's a very good idea. We're right by the water. I don't know why we wouldn't have a rescue boat. As for the fire truck, if you can get something for that cost and all 3 of these items, I don't know why we wouldn't add to our department to help the people within the community, our residents. I don't have a huge problem with this. I'm fine.
That's it, Paul?
Just to, if I may, just provide some additional information and just, I appreciate everyone's comments, concerns. And certainly when it comes time to spending money, And in no department do we spend money just willy-nilly. Just to set this fact straight on a couple of facts. The van is, you've asked for it, it's a 1995. It's old, yes, it's certified, needs no more monies, it runs. And it's heck of a lot cheaper than building storage. And you see shed, I'll go through all the equipment that's over there. It's whether it's foam, whether it's anything, it can't put that stuff in a regular pickup truck. We are now in a regular state, trying to build a state-of-the-art department, so it comes with many features. Police department, police budget, $645,000 this year, okay? Heck of a lot, $200,000 more than fire, so let's just call a spade a spade. Highway calls, they got $25,000 from last year that didn't make it till this year, and then another 35 coming for this year. We're just taking 5 of last year that we're getting, so deceiving, not really. You know, the motion, yeah, it was last year's motion. The reason I put that in there is to give and remind council of its willingness to spend 40,000 on fire equipment. And I'm looking at spending 25,000 to fix pumper 5. We could just live at that and spend 25,000, fix pumper 5. But I got a fire truck here that's got 15,000 and I got 3 minutes to decide. I can just say, no, I'll come to council and it'll be gone. I got 3 minutes and your guys are paying me to make decisions to look after the best risks in the town, and I made the decision. If you have an issue with me, pull me aside and we can chat, but that's the decision I make and I'm telling you about
Hey, my turn now?
Your turn. You go.
Okay, first of all, I'm not a mechanic and I'm not a fire department guy, so, the one thing I've always prided myself, I say I know this town inside out. That is the one place I can say I know nothing. Okay, so to me, what I'm seeing today, you know, financially makes sense. I'm not surprised with the reaction here because, you know, we're always saying it's not in the budget. But I want to remind this table that we're doing huge strides in that. Town of Mattawa never had a budget before mid-June to end of June. Last year, we had a budget in March. Budget's gonna be presented the next meeting. Am I right in saying that?
Correct.
Okay, so we're in the real world, we should have our budget done in December of the year preceding. I get that, but you know, we're small, we only have so many resources. The one that we're replacing is a 2004, right?
That's correct.
The one with the ladders, the 2007?
Yeah, it's 3 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I see 3 years, I'm just confirming it. And then we're saying we're gonna sell the 2004. I'm against that. That's our truck. We've had it brand new. We know everything about it. We can store it, and that's just me. I'm not a mechanic, I'm not a firefighter. We can store it, wait for some funding to come along, fix that pump, replace the tires. Then we got 2 of them. I don't care if a fire truck's 30 years old and it still runs. You know, but runs well. But it might not be allowed, I don't know, and that's why I said what I said at the very beginning. So I think getting a new truck, 15,000, we can park that one until maybe we can fix it, and then we got 2 trucks. And where are we gonna store it? Well, I just got an email. I'd say 3 weeks ago. The dome in front of the fire department. Okay, someone sent me an offer to sell. I turned it over to staff and I asked them to look into that, report to council. So
Maybe there.
we might have a good place to store some of that stuff. I just wanted to bring that up because that's a question that's been thrown. Okay, I wasn't going after it. I made sure that, you know, I turned it over to staff and staff's gonna bring, whenever they get an answer or a concrete offer or something, they'll get back to us. So that is it for me.
We could,
He's got one more.
Councilor Gardner?
Just to clarify for you, so you said like keeping the other truck, so essentially the truck that's the 2004.
Yeah.
Is serves the same purpose as the newer pumper eight that we have now. They're both pumpers and they tank a little bit of water on them. And then the new truck that is coming is a lot of the same, but with a ladder. Cause you would have three of the same trucks essentially, you know.
Yeah, but by the prices I'm seeing, we'll get next to nothing.
Yeah, it's ready to scrap it, as you're saying, which is publicly told everybody that it needs $27,000 in work, so.
Well, I wrote 35, okay, put new tires, put a new pump, 35,000, we might get lucky and get a grant to get it done. And it doesn't mean you gotta sell it tomorrow morning. You know, but even if you fix it, it's gonna be worth more to sell. But anyways, that's my opinion, you know, until recently, I drove my vehicle for 20 years. You know, until it was falling apart, and then I go get another one to get me to another 20 years. That's sort of
Remember, when I was in the fire department way back, we wanted to buy a rescue boat. And have a place for storage and everything else, and at that time, that boat was somewhere around $18,000. And that was a small motor, it wasn't a big one, and we had to buy other stuff to go with it. The concept that is across the road is for sale. And I looked at it when you had mentioned it to me, and it looked pretty good. It's solid, it's not caving in, it's not buckling up or anything. So there's some little bit of modification would have to be done to it, and I agree with you. It's a good place for a storage unit. So I have no qualm with this.
it's right across the street. Can't get
Yeah.
better.
Exactly.
Councilor T-Bear?
Yeah, see, my name was mentioned earlier in this discussion. I was always one that voted against anything that wasn't budgeted, a budgeted item. I voted against the only one that voted against buying the cutting the lawn, the equipment for cutting our own lawn. Because it wasn't a budgeted item, not the principle of the idea, but because it wasn't budgeted. But tonight I had a kind of an awakening. There comes a time, sometimes, that a decision has to be made quickly, okay? And we do have a CAO that we relinquish some of the authority to our staff to make decisions that require an immediate decision. So there is a time when we have to do an unbudgeted item purchase. And I had that awakening today. Thank you very much, guys, for bringing that to my attention. I learned something tonight that I'm gonna, in the future, I mean, if I'm still here after the next election, I'll bring it with me, because I think there is a time that has to happen. So, thank you very much, your worship, for the opportunity.
And the one thing I never mentioned, and I forgot, but I didn't mention it because Councillor Ross mentioned it. We live in Mattawa, we're surrounded by water, and we're getting a rescue boat for free. How can we complain?
$1,000.
I'll just say it like that.
Of course.
Okay, one final shot. Councillor Gardner.
Counselor, some counselors have had their epiphany to change how they, what their strategy is. They seem to have voted one way for all unbudgeted expenditures for the better part of a few years now, and drastically changed their mind now. So just would remind council and maybe staff that we have a plow truck that is used on a much higher frequency than any of our fire trucks, and is a vital part of our fleet. And maybe that now that council accepts unbudgeted large expenses, and maybe now is your time to bring forward an unbudgeted plow truck that we drastically need. So I look forward to seeing that in the very near future.
Well, good?
Yep.
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder, please.
No, I just recorded, please.
Point of order,
Yes, Councillor Tiberi.
or what are we voting on here? Just
To
to
accept
accept
this
the,
report.
to accept the report, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the motion is, moved by, Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that Council of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-17R titled Fire Department Acquisitions. Questions, comments? None?
Counselor Levesque?
Yes.
Counselor Ross?
Yes.
Counselor Tudor?
Yes,
Counselor Mick?
No,
Counselor Durkin?
Yes.
And Mayor Belage.
Yes.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 5 yeas and 1 nay.
Okay, which moves us to 9.4, report number 26-18R. Titled Annual Council Remuneration Report. And prepared by CEO Treasurer. Paul?
Yeah, thank you, and also prepared by our deputy treasurer. And I won't spend a lot of time on this. This is an annual requirement to disclose payments to council. It is payments received from the town, payments received from any external parties for which a councillor sits on the committee. And we have a duty to disclose this. I'm gonna ask the clerk. And if February, in March?
March 31st.
Okay, so we're a few weeks behind, I apologize for that, and then we have to post it on our website and for the public to see. The amounts are listed there, we catch your regular salaries, your attendance at meetings and honorariums, everything that you get monies for, they're listed there. Any questions, comments, I'm not gonna go through, you're all listed there, every one of you. I don't know if there's any questions or concerns, but that's all I have to say to this.
Do we need a mover and a seconder? Oh. Looking on the other side. Seconder on this side?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor Tiber. Be it resolved that Council of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-18R titled Annual Council Remuneration Report. Questions, comments? Councillor Mick.
I wanted to put forward an amendment to remove the payments not made by us. Because first off, they're not our payments to disclose. And secondly, I think they're a little misleading on what we are being remunerated for. It adds to the total cost. If like that were the case, like you want my T4 from the nursing home, like those are also public dollars that I accept as part of my payment. And we have no way of sort of knowing that these payments reported are sort of verified on our end, and they're further disclosed from the bodies making the payments. So the Police Services Board and the Conservation Authority Board, they all send their budgets to us and they make their budgets public because it is public dollars. So I'd like to put forward an amendment to remove those from this report.
Okay, I think I know the answer, but go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so the municipal act states clearly that payments include all payments made by, in this case, the town. And any organization external that pays a councillor for being on that committee. And those external organizations have a duty to send to the receiving community the amounts paid. So I have a letter from any organization that gives money to any of you to attend a committee, not a job, a committee. So Police Service Board, I called them because I had to get one and they said they didn't pay anything.
No, they don't pay.
Right, so I will have to report it, but in this case, Mr. Nick, there was some amounts we and it'll be a matter of what conservation is there. We have a duty under the act to report that.
I'm not going to go there, yeah.
Well, Councilor Garden.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, when I looked this up last year, cause we were falling behind a little bit. But that was included in there that had to be, disclosed as well, because you're there. Not because it's a job, because you're there as a member of our council, on that committee, so you're representing our council, so that's why it's included in there.
And I knew the answer because I used to be a CEO when I had to do it.
And I had one other question, just a small one, and I'm assuming I know the answer, but Roma expenses. There's a big, 2 out of the 3 that were relatively close, and then one was drastically lower. I'm assuming it's probably just due to what's the word I'm looking for? Accommodations is my guess. So just wanted to just.
Yeah, so
why, or
if I may, in this particular case, one looked after the accommodation for the other. And so was reimbursed for the accommodations paid. But it's, so you'd have to add the 2 together, divided by 2, and then you'd end up having.
So maybe in the future when we share a room, which I'm all for, if that's what happened.
It wasn't.
I put Councillor Bigelow's room on my credit card.
Oh, okay.
So we.
Okay. So, yeah, just, it kind of, it inflates your costs, right? Like,
It makes me look like I'm more involved.
Okay.
My other comment was for all the other councillors with your low honorarium, you should get more involved with your council. And I encourage you to step up for events and meetings.
Okay, no, that's just, I assume that it probably had something to do with accommodations, but then that makes sense then, okay.
Can I take one comment?
Sure.
I've been on council now for close to 20 years. So the reason my remuneration isn't as big, not that I'm not doing my job, is that I'd like to give the new councillors an opportunity to attend some of these conferences and learn from other councillors what they're doing in their areas. So, I've been doing it for quite a while, and not that I know everything, but you understand what I'm trying to say. To give the new councillors an opportunity to go.
Okay, so all we need to vote now is if we accept this report or not. Okay, so all in favor? Carried.
We're good.
Question to the clerk. Would we have to pass a resolution because of the time?
9 o'clock is the hour.
9 o'clock, okay,
I'll let you.
okay. 9.5. Report number 26-19R. Prepared by the CEO treasurer, 26-27 municipal insurance renewal. Oh.
Thank you. Volker Link was on the video earlier and made a presentation on the renewal. I go back to when I started here a short 3 years ago. I was looking at the insurance and I found out that the insurance was due. Came to council and the situation the council and staff and lack thereof at the time. And you kind of add a gun to your head and you had to renew it on the spot. There's no real due diligence on what was.
My apologies, Paul, I skipped a step, can I back up? And
Of course.
we'll go right back. The last one was a 2-part resolution. Second part is to be able to post the council remunerations on the website, so mover. And a seconder, okay? I caught myself.
I missed it.
My apologies, Paul.
No.
Motion moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that council directs staff to post the 2025 council remunerations on the municipal website. Questions, comments? None, all in favor? Against? So one against? You said that you're in favor?
Yep.
Yeah. Carry. Sorry, Paul.
Oh, so good. Yeah, so we're at the insurance renewal, very exciting. The well, since 2023, we've been with IBE even before that, but then, you know, like I said, at the last minute, council went through that. In 24, we spent quite a bit of time doing some diligence, and the fee didn't increase too much. Last year, IBE was very, if you remember, they were very slow, and were very apologetic about coming up with renewal documents, which we did look at, but we were very clear that we were interested in going to market, which this year is all about. You heard BrokerLink. I was quite taken back by how close BFL was. The quotes for the kind of coverage that we're looking at are remarkably close. There were actually 4 groups that were looked after. One does not do insurance municipality in the sector, so they're not in. Marsh Group was one that I was interested in potentially getting a quote from. But the Marsh Group have their own broker, which is not BrokerLink, and they won't bid on any jobs of which BrokerLink is. So we ended up with at least 2 quotes, one from BFL and one from IB being the incumbent. So I've gone through with our broker, went through all the renewals. I was interested in a couple of things. The deductible changed. That's something that they try and sneak in there sometime. And so found out that the deductibles are essentially the same. Except in a wrongful dismissal situation, which we, as you know, had a few. It's actually dropped to 5,000 deductible for IPE. That's a plus for IPE. The rest are kind of the coverage are one's higher, one's lower. It's pretty close across the board. For me, I'll be honest, changing carrier is a big to do. And if we were saving 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, I'd change in a heartbeat. But in this case, the incumbent is $8,000 lower. And I recommend to you that we stay within that property and renew with them for next year, and that we don't go into market for another 4 or 5 years unless.
Hey, I'm not following. You just said that IPE was lower than BFL.
Yeah, by 8,000. Did I say that?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I just heard you say the other way around.
If I did, sorry.
Yeah.
Intact Properties is the income, it is the low bid at 153,295. And my recommendation is that we stay with them and that we, don't bother going to market for another 4 or 5 years unless we're dissatisfied with the service. But having done that, and before I finalize, I also said another concern that I had was sometimes providers will low bid to get the job. And then they start racking up fees the year after, and then by 2 or 3 years, you're paying 10-20% more than if you not switch or whatever. So they said, no, neither of them were into that game. They're both very reputable. And so I think we paid $171 last year, I think, at 171. That's an $18,000 saving. Well, that's an $18,000 saving potentially for 5 years, or you can do the math as well as I can. That's a good thing that we went to market, and my recommendation is that we stay with Intact Properties.
Okay, questions, Councilor Gardner?
Yeah, thanks for looking into that. I think that often with insurance companies, we've all been through it in our personal lives, that sometimes you just want to make sure that they're in line, right? So like even just getting 2 of them, you kind of see that they're in line, right? You're not one way over here and one way down here. So last year, I think we had to make the decision. I think our insurance was like the next day. It was like we had to make a decision that night. So we were kind of, like you said, gun to our head. So it's just nice to see that, one, it's nice to see that it's coming down, which doesn't happen ever, but nice to see that it's coming down. And then again, just nice to see that, you know, it's in the ballpark, it's in the range of what, you know, we would expect with other companies. I don't expect you to go to unearth every rock, to seek out every single company that's out there. I think just seeing that, what the company that we're with is in line. So I'm happy with that.
It's also a very limited pool.
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah.
many that do municipalities.
Mhm.
Councillor Levite?
Looking at what they charged last year versus this year, the $18,000 difference. Nothing was compromised in items, right?
That's correct, that's what I was saying, I would pay particular attention to the deductibles, which is where or a loss of coverage or decrease in coverage. There were no such thing,
Okay,
so they're not playing games with
so
it.
they're just giving us a break right now. In a sense.
Now, I don't think insurance companies ever give us a good.
Well, $18,000
But,
drop.
Maybe they're not robbing us as much as they have in the past.
It's called a request for proposal.
That's good, good job.
Question?
No, sir.
No, good.
Councillor Mick? No? Okay, mover and a seconder?
Put it down, recorded vote 2 page.
That's what I was mentioning a while ago.
Okay, motion is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that Council of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-19R titled 2026 Municipal Insurance Renewal. Recorded vote requested by Mr. Question, comments? None? Just to accept the report?
Councillor Levite?
Yes.
Councillor Ross?
Yes.
Councillor Gardner?
Yes.
Councillor Mick?
Yes.
Councillor Teeber?
Yes.
And Mayor Boulanger?
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder to accept the company. Okay, the motion is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor Gardner. Be it resolved that council approves the 26-27 municipal insurance renewal with intact property entities, IPE, through our municipal insurance broker, Berthel, in the amount of $153,295 plus applicable taxes. Questions, comments? I'm gonna call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaws, we have none. Old business, library proposal from report 26-01R. Let it ride?
Do you want more yet?
Yep, certainly. No new business. Any questions from the public pertaining to the agenda? None? And we need a mover and a seconder to go in a closed meeting.
If I may,
Oh,
please.
what'd you do?
It's what
Time.
we're going to do.
Oh.
Okay, in light of going into a closed session, we have 45 minutes. If this discussion goes beyond 45 minutes within closed session, we need to come out. Pass the motion that we're gonna go past 9 PM and then go back in. So would you like to pass a motion right now that council will go past 9 PM?
And you don't have to, we don't.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I'll move that.
I'll second it. I know.
I'll go home.
Thanks, next time.
Yes.
Jennifer.
Okay.
Okay, so moved by Mayor Boulanger, seconded by Councillor Levite. Be it resolved that council authorize the meeting to be extended past 9 o'clock PM to discuss the remaining items on the agenda, not to go past 10 o'clock PM as per the procedural bylaw.
Questions, comments? None? All in favor? Carried. Now I need a mover and a seconder to go into camera. Mr. Ross. So the motion is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor Ross. Be it resolved that council proceed in camera closed session pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended at 8:15 PM in order to address item 14.2 Fire Services Protection Agreement under a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Question, comments? None, all in favor? All in favor? All in favor? Against? Okay. Carry.
Well done to you.
Okay, I have a motion moved by Councillor Tiber's, seconded by Councillor Gardner. Be it resolved that the regular meeting reconvene at 8:56 PM. Question, comments? All in favor? Carried. We went into a closed meeting to discuss a fire services protection agreement. And the motion is gonna be tabled coming out of that meeting. I'm looking for a mover. And a seconder.
Not make us before the meeting.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion was moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council approve the agreement between the Mattawa Fire Department and Ontario Power Generation as per the terms set out in the closed session. And further that council directs the clerk to bring forward a bylaw at the next regular meeting to formally adopt the agreement. Question, comments? Councillor Gardner.
Just for clarification, so this kind of binds our end of the agreement, their end hasn't been the same, right? So like we could commit to it and they haven't committed to their end until we do on our side type of thing, like we get go first, they go second type of thing?
Right, and right now, they're saying the same thing at their end, because they're going through purchasing to finalize the thing. And they don't even know that your table is accepted.
Oh, okay.
We're kind of doing it in good faith. If we bring the bylaw and they turn around and not accept it, then we'll rescind it.
Okay.
That's all there.
Any other comments? None?
Councillor Levite,
Yes.
Councillor Mick,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
Yes.
Councillor Ross.
Yes.
Councillor Tiber
Yes.
and Mayor Boulanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously.
And adjournment,
Look at that, just before 9 o'clock.
motion is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Tiber. Be it resolved that this regular meeting adjourn at 8:59 PM. No questions, comment? None, all in favor? Carried.
Okay. That one.